Na 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 na. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G Snoop Dogg, dog. Na 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 na. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E, yeah. You know who's back up in this motherfucker? What? No, no.
West Side. I
Side.
like how when
Oh,
you did
man.
the Snoop Dogg thing, you did the little nasal hold in one nose.
Oh my goodness, dude. Snoop Dogg is the GOAT, man. I shouldn't like when the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. When a blanket and attitude, pop it like it's hot. Oh man.
Dude,
I
I
think
feel
I
like Snoop is actually in a lot of like businesses, man. Like this dude is he's a smart rapper. He's in like a ton of different investments. Let me see what businesses he's at. Yeah, prolific. All right, so entrepreneur estimated 160 mil net worth. Diverse empire spanning across cannabis, technology, food, bev, and media.
wow.
Leafs by Snoop. Oh, dude, and he's invested in tech firms like Klarna and Reddit.
From
Very
crook
cool.
to cook. He has a cookbook.
From crook to cook.
Wow. He has
Dude, this
a
is in everything, man. Yeah,
he
he's
has
a
a
stakeholder
gangsta
in
gaming league.
Klarna, and he's got a youth football league.
Yeah, he's got a cannabis friendly esports league called Gangsta Gaming.
Yeah. It's so funny
Oh,
because, like, you just look at him, he's just like, hey, it's just a dude who, he's kind of like a older, washed up rapper, just smokes a ton now. But this dude been making moves, man.
oh man. Dude, how's life?
He's got a red wine. He's got a wine company. He's got a wine
Oh
called
yeah.
Snoop Pally Red.
Yeah, the 19 Crimes collab. That shit is pretty fire. It's not bad. Not
That
amazing for the purists, but
oh, get this. Still GIN.
I saw that one. Still GIN.
So good.
Yeah, that is fire. Yo, what's going on? How's the weekend been, brother?
Weekend was chill, man. Weekend was good. Your boy was up in Nashville, Tennessee. It was my first time there.
All right,
Nashville,
yo,
Tennessee. I was there for a
how's
sales
this fried
conference.
chicken?
So Hattie B's, probably the best like hot chicken that I've ever had. And I recently had was it Dave's Hot Chicken? They recently just put a couple in Jacksonville, but I think when it comes to the overall like juiciness and the tender and like the overall width or girth of the actual chicken tender in
Hey,
itself,
bro, chill, chill.
sorry, too graphic. But super juicy. And then I mean, from a flavor standpoint, I never like to go like super hot where I can't taste the actual chicken in of itself. So I think I got one medium and one hot. And then man, their mac and cheese side, so good, so creamy. I like my mac and cheese kind of like a little bit wet, a little bit moist. Does that make sense? And then their
This
dessert,
is most like inappropriate.
the most sexual description of food. I'll try to keep it PG. But then, all right, the peach cobbler at the end, so good. It was probably like it was honestly one of my like favorite like fast food meals ever. But yeah,
Yeah.
the line was like insane, man, out the door.
Yeah, there was this funny meme I just saw. It was like it's like, yo, don't you just hate it when your barber just like says like some weird shit to you? And it's like two black dudes, one of them's giving me a cut. It's like, yo, you're kind of dirty in the back. You mind if I give it to you from the back? Like just clean that up real quick. Because yo, bro, why you always gotta say stuff like that to me, man? Like, why can't you just cut my hair?
Dude, man, I don't know. Sometimes the way the food hits, man, you just gotta get that connection in with the food.
Dude, yeah, I had when I was in Nashville last year. I think I had a hot fried chicken like every single day. I had one at the Predator Stadium. Watched the hockey game. That was first hockey game ever. So sick.
Yeah, that's
Um,
exactly where the Hattie B's was. It was right across the Predator Stadium,
yeah,
right on. I think it was like Broadway. Yeah,
I think I had EBs and I had another spot. But dude, they were all so good. But how was hot though? Because mild and medium is already hot. Like it's
yeah.
hit.
It was mild or the medium that I got was pretty good. I could actually still get some good flavors in. The hot was a little bit kind of towards the end though. A little bit. I was starting to sweat a good bit for sure.
Holy cow, man. Yeah, I just got back from Boston, which was sick, but I feel like I'm a resident there now. Fucking like almost 2 weeks back to back in Boston. But when I was messaging you and calling you, I'm like, yo, bro, where'd you go to Nashville for? I forgot you had mentioned that you're going for the sales conference.
Yeah, yeah. It was a great time, man. I love learning from people in different industries. And I mean, like, this was just like kind of like a sales conference just for like multiple different industries. You have people in online sales there. You have people running like in-person sales, B2B, B2C. But sales, I mean, sales is sales. And I think like at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that I realized that a lot of these, all these other companies kind of all struggled with was managing people. They all talked about, because at a certain size, you all have the right process, you all have the right scripts, but how do you kind of like motivate the people on your team to be able to produce at the rate that you want them to produce? Because yeah, I mean, sales is like it's a freaking volatile, man. It's like you got to hear no so many different times, and it's like how do you keep motivation up? And so it was really good. I think there were a lot of really good key takeaways that we kind of go through. But yeah, I also just like enjoy chatting with other business owners, seeing what's working in some of their industries, seeing what we can kind of take away and input and implement into ours.
Yeah, no, I got the newsletter conference coming up next week, which is gonna be fun.
Hell yeah,
Just
where's that going to be at?
literally in Times Square. Like it's gonna be
Oh
like three
shit, okay.
clinics. It'll be super easy. But I'm gonna probably I gotta move.
Who's hosting it?
Um, just like two fucking nerds. I don't even know, but they have like heavy hitters that come into like talk about their newsletter biz, but they have CEO of the Atlantic will be there.
That's a big one.
A bunch of like tech founders. This guy's a co-founder and CEO of 1440. It's like a newsletter business that does like well in over 100 millions.
Hmm.
Morning Brew, it's like a newsletter company that's worth over 100 mil. They're probably at like 200, 250 now. So it's just like you get all these speakers that are in behind the scenes of like how these newsletter companies are growing. And then all of the software companies that support newsletters will also be there. So it's just cool to like network with people and yeah, kind of see what's up. Cause like newsletters are not like a big part of what we do, but I think
Yeah.
it's another like channel, right? For moment education, it definitely rips. Like we have our open rates and everything are super, super high. I think for Go Getters coaching, it also does extremely well. Our open rate for Go Getters coaching is like 60% as well. For our practice, since the volume, the number of people are higher, I think we're closer to like 40, which is still above the industry
Mhm.
standard. But there's something just about like what you said, right? Like being in a room filled with people that are operating at an extremely high level that just fucking elevates you. So Thursday night, there's like a private dinner. And I was like, all right, can't wait to see who the fuck shows up there. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, like so at this conference you had like kind of like the general admission, and then you also had like the VIP. I always like opting in for like VIP primarily because of like the private mixer, the private dinners that they'll host for you, as well as like the speakers and some of the other people there as well. But dude, speaking of newsletters, there's a kid there at the conference. He's 20 years old, in college, but ended up dropping out. He has a business where he helps like companies do cold email outreach, and he's doing like 200K a month. And I just like thought that was so cool because I was asking him about, hey, like what are some of the like the best email deliverabilities, right, to make sure, hey, you land in primary, you don't land in like promotion or spam. But yeah, like some of these like entrepreneurs are now are like coming out and just like so young, and they just like operate at such a very high level. And for him, like we're speaking on kind of like just like a peer to peer basis, and I had to like ask him like, dude, like how old are you? Because I mean, he just looks so young. He's like, yeah, I'm 20, and he was like, he was in college, and then yeah, he just ended up dropping out because every single time he was in class, he just kept thinking about, hey, like what can I be doing for like my business? But yeah, it's just like it's so cool. It's like you have other people around his age, like drinking, going out and stuff, thinking about partying, and then he's like just operating 200K per month business, and it's just so cool. Because for him, he's so young. He's 20 years old. He still has 10 years, more before he hits 30, and so he has. I think when you operate so young, you just have even though you don't have like a lot of like life experience and stuff, you make up for it with really just like energy, time, and for him, he obviously has a lot of passion in terms of what he does. But yeah, like really, really inspirational for sure.
Dude, George Washington was fucking 23 years old when he was going out to go fight the French, or like I don't even know the he was the
Was he really
uh,
20?
confront the
Man,
French in 1753. 21 years old.
fucking savage.
You know how old Thomas Jefferson was when he was drafting the Declaration of Independence? Bro, he was our age. He was freaking
Shit.
our age, bro. But no, I agree, man. There's like these kids that are absolute savages at what they do, and like Peter and I were mentioning, there's this one Asian brother. His name is Sue Go, and I'm cracking up because I'm like, yo, this kid got motion, man. He's like 22 years old, fucking ripping like 500K months consulting with like other online businesses, and like he's actually good at what he does, and he's got a great mindset behind like how to lead and live his life. And I'm like, brother, you're 23 years old. And I was 23 years old. I was at a frat house making jungle juice, like
Yeah.
it was my fifth year, in like college. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I like go back and think about it all the time. Like, man, like was college a waste? But then at the same time, I think like, I mean, I had a really good time in college, and I don't necessarily know if it just kind of helps prepare you for, hey, how do you like socialize? How do you integrate yourself into society without needing the help of your parents? But at the same time, I'm like, man, if I had potentially not even gone into physical therapy and just gone into maybe some sort of like business, kind of like this kid, like how much potentially further along would I be? But it's kind of just like one of the things like, hey, well, we'll never really know. But it's like maybe in another life, like shit, like what happens if I was just like a dropout, maybe just went right into maybe like starting a plumbing business or something like that right out of high school.
Dude, honestly, like I'm so fucking grateful to be in like, I truly don't think that physical therapy is going to, I just made a post today about like AI, and like, I don't think anything really fucking changes for most people. I think
Mm-hmm.
your life looks fairly similar, right? It only magnifies. If you have like low agency and you have a victim mentality, that's only going to magnify. If you're fairly average, it's going to suck a little bit more. But if you're someone that always figures shit out, it's only going to probably get better for you, right? Like nothing really changes, I think, because AI doesn't build character and it doesn't make you do hard things. I honestly think it's more of a cop out than most people think. People are going to have more distractions, more noise, and instead of doing the shit that they need to do, it's like I'm building something with Claude, right? It's like, dog, there's so much low hanging fruit in your life and your business. The last thing you need to do is learn AI.
They're
But
just
even with like,
distractions.
yeah, even with
Yeah.
like financial modeling, right? Like I'd spent 2 days with Claude, an hour and a half each, and I got what I needed out of it. It's like, you don't need that much time. AI is meant to streamline a bunch of stuff. So like if you're spending like days trying to find a solution, you're probably solving the wrong problem because like
Yeah.
it gets spit out things so quickly.
I think one of the cool things too is I think you talked about it in your video, but like because of AI, a lot of content and ads are kind of almost like getting so diluted now, right? I think the term for it now is called AI slop. Um, whereas people are just pumping out high volume of these like AI generated ads, and so like a lot of the more like kind of just like very simple iPhone style like ads where you're kind of actually speaking direct to camera is just gonna go like hit a lot more from like a consumer standpoint versus like a lot of the highly generated CPG stuff that they see online now.
I just launched an ad for GGC and it's been getting some likes. But I think it's a Mean Girls meme. It's like get in loser, we're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I put my face over the Mean Girls. I'm like, get in loser, we're running your ads, right?
Let's go.
So that's like one ad I generated. It's not super polished. Another one. Do you remember Goodwill Hunting?
Yeah, yeah,
You know the scene where it's like, Will, it's not your fault.
yeah. That's you see.
I said cash-based physical therapist. If you're still taking discovery calls and you don't have a way to generate leads consistently, it's not your fault. There's a testimonial from someone in our group that booked 11 calls this past weekend without touching a phone, right?
Yeah.
And Alex is like, yo, it's crazy. I was like, Con Ed weekend, I got 11 evals ready for next week. And I'm like, that's the fucking move. Watching these other groups still say, like, yeah, 80% of founders are still taking
Mm,
discovery calls. I'm like, that's a fucking
crazy.
problem. Like, because what's going to happen when you're running your ads and you have to make 100 dials a day? You're not going to want to do that. You're going to end up building a business that you hate. So, yeah, just cracking up because when you're like mentioning the uglier ads, I'm like, yo, I'm the fucking master of ugly ads.
You just gotta throw shit out there. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like throw shit out there, kind of see what sticks. But yeah, like trying to do everything yourself, like it is 100% a trap. Like you gotta build a team, build processes so people can operate, where so your business can operate without everything depending on you. And it's not going to be easy. I think that's one of the things that sometimes like some of the other groups are teaching. It's like, hey, like it doesn't have to be hard. Like you can do it the easy way. Don't burn out, etc. But it's like, dude, like once you build up a team, like that is where you can actually start to breathe. And like it's you can either go very very slow or you can just go fast, get there, and then like kind of sit above the clouds. I think I saw a video the other day, and it makes a lot of sense. But the guy who basically talks about how like he talked to a lot of these like founders and operators that operate at like multiple millions dollars a month, and when you talk to them, they just kind of have this like sense of like zen about them, where it's just like, hey, nothing phases them, nothing bothers them. And the reason why they're able to like speak like that is because they have so many different layers of insulation before like the shit actually touches them. And I know like some of the people that are in a group where they had maybe like PT leave, now they're getting pulled back into treatment. It's like, well, dude, that's the whole point of like scaling so fast, so that you can have multiple PTs like doing treatment and stuff before you actually have to kind of get pulled back in. Otherwise, like, hey, you bring on a PT, it's great, awesome, we get a first hire, but it's like, dude, what happens if that PT leaves? You're right back into fulfillment again. You have one SDR, awesome, great. What happens if that like SDR ends up in the hospital or ends up sick? It's like you're back on the phones, and that happened to me probably like a month ago. I had 3 SDRs. Two of them both got sick in the same, and both of them were out for like 2 weeks in a row. So it was just me and one of my other SDRs ripping dollars, and I was like, shit, I need to insulate myself even more. And so, but like the only way you do it is if you grow fast, and growing fast is not going to be easy, and it's never easy.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy because I remember we've onboarded 15 people this past month into GGC, which is obviously a PR. It's insane, and our salesperson was like, "Yo, it's crazy. The industry standard for close is like 20%, and we're at like 78%." And she's like, the reason for this is she's just like, you guys have just like so much fucking proof. Like it's actually insane. Yeah. And Peter made a good point when I was talking with them this past week. It's like, I think a lot of people are like dipping toes in water, like, what's going on over here? Right? Like we're the new kids on the block. And now that people are seeing like these crazy results, it's like, okay, I want in. Because we have coaches coming from other coaching groups. They're the people that are below the founders, the coaches of other coaching groups, wanting to work with us, but we've legitimately said no. And it's just like, all this to say, I remember our salesperson was like, hey, Emily, she's so fucking funny. She goes, this guy's objection was the fact that he just doesn't know if this is going to work for him. And like, he really needs to work with like high level people. And I'm like, brother, it took you 5 years to get to 50K in a month. 5 years. We have literally people in GGC now that have done that in, I think we've had someone do that 6 months. Yeah. I think Dylan probably hit that in like 4th month, like.
Yep.
So like, I just crack up because you're stuck doing the same exact thing. You show up to your monthly call and it's like, all right, fingers crossed, give me a new tactic. It's like, nope, keep doing the same exact shit. It's, hey, just be grateful that you get to get off work early, right? Or like have some work-life balance. Like work-life balance is not going to do anything for you now because like you're in a stage where you should be building, right? You should be grinding so that you, like what Peter said, create some space between you and the business so that you can continue to work on the business. The reason why it's harder for us is because obviously for me, I have Moment Education, Moment Physical Therapy, and then also Go-Getters, but Peter's obviously running Go-Getters and then running Motion. People in our group are going to have it way easier when you're just running one, but it's still difficult. Like I'm telling you that right now, it's still difficult. But the reason why that I do a lot of these things is to create more opportunities for every single ecosystem that I'm a part of, but also to show you guys, right, that like, it's kind of like when everyone's in the live event and like Dylan was talking about how he was doing 50 sessions a week and everyone's all of a sudden felt like, oh man, my shit's not that bad, right? It's like, dude, we're scaling sales teams for 3 businesses. We're fucking building ops for 3 businesses. We're building SOPs and all this stuff. And it's like, you can do it for one. You can do it for one. You can find time for all these things.
Yeah, everyone always wants a trophy without the work involved that goes into actually getting the trophy. Yeah, I mean, everyone always looks at like the revenue numbers, right? Of like, Dylan, and he's like, "Hey, like, how'd you grow to like 500K in a year?" It's like Dylan just did a lot of hard shit, like 3 times as fast as what you guys all did, and implemented things very, very fast. Like all you guys 100% can do it, but it's like, hey, do we actually have the work ethic that he does to actually get there? One of the things they talked about this weekend is like, one of the best things, or one of the best levers for sales is really just having a really good product and having a really high like client success rate, because all that feeds immediately back into marketing. And I look at, and same thing with you, like if we look at all the businesses that we have, that's like probably the number one thing that we focus on the most first is really just, hey, like client success. Hey, our clients actually getting results, physical therapy. Awesome. Now we pull that into the marketing. If we look at our clients getting results in GGC, in moment mentorship, like, hey, make sure like the people who come in, make sure they actually get what we promised them at the beginning. If we do that, all the sales and the marketing is easy. It feeds right back into itself, and the clients will actually also retain on as well too. And then you also have word of mouth, and then you add on ads as well too. But it's like a lot of times people struggle with sales because they sell all these people in, but like if you don't have a good product, they immediately churn out. You have like refunds, chargebacks, all these different disputes. Or they get in, they realize, hey, the program isn't like kind of what was originally promised to them. It's like now there's a mismatch in expectations. But if you just like do what you say you're gonna do, be a good person. I think it's just so silly. But it comes down to it at the end of the day, just be a good person. Right? Get people results, like care about your clients and stuff, regardless if it's physical therapy or business coaching or business or clinical mentorship. Like shit will happen.
Dude, the I couldn't agree more, right? I couldn't agree more. I think so many people are just like, even in all these other groups, like one of the things that we implemented this past week was we're not taking on new clients in certain regions in the world, right? Or in the US, because we're only focused in the US. We're no longer taking people in Chicago. Like all of these people will be waitlist. Chicago, Greenville, Austin. We're no longer taking anyone in Jacksonville or Tampa or New York City because we're actively growing our business ourselves. Oklahoma City, there's more areas where we're just waitlisting people because we already have people implanted in these areas in our Go Getters coaching group. And if we just kept saying, hey, we're going to take on more and more entrepreneurs, eventually their ad spend is going to increase. Eventually there's going to be so much competition. Third person that we onboarded into Omaha, right, had a harder time finding local marketing. So we got super dialed in with different ways to market, and now he's crushing it. But we're definitely not going to be onboarding a fourth person in Omaha, right? Because the people that are already in our group are going to be leveling up all their ad spend, their paid marketing, and we don't want them to cannibalize each other. Right?
Yeah.
All of this is super intentional. It's not an actual marketing gimmick. It ends up being a marketing gimmick because people are like, "Oh man, I got to get in because there's limited slots." But we both have been a part of groups where there's 10 people in the same geographical area. Good luck winning. And why would you onboard another person in that same geographical area? They don't actually care about fulfillment. They just care about constantly increasing the monthly revenue, which does well for the first year. But like again, since we've talked like the past week or two, Peter and I have just been talking about how can we make fulfillment better? How can we retain people longer? How can we consistently create more value and make sure that people in our group make more money? Because that'll take care of everything itself. If you have a revolving door, I think it ends up being really tough. Like we've had people that were just not a good fit for GGC, right? From a culture perspective. And you got to protect the culture. Same thing that we would protect the culture of our clinics.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm starting to realize, like a lot of these other coaching groups, when they have like so many people in a single area, all with like cash paid businesses, all of them all get stuck around 30 to 50K per month. That's it. Like
If that,
everyone gets, yeah, everyone gets there and they just cap out because there's so many people there. And so really for us, like our goal is to make sure, hey, everybody who comes into our group all ends up hitting 100K per month. And they do it without burning out. And they all do it with a team that's operationalized. It doesn't depend on them. The only way we can make sure, hey, they have the highest success of doing that is we actually just limit the total number of people in that area. because that's the case with brick and mortar. It's like you have a certain number of people in a certain area, so we want to make sure all of our inputs to making sure that they are successful all goes into those few people that join. So that's pretty much it. And like I think like me and Andy have briefly talked about it, but it's like at a certain point, if a business gets large enough, like we will actually want to be a part of it. We want to actually potentially invest in a business that does very, very well, within our group. But the only way we can do that is by not having so many businesses cannibalize each other, all at that like 30K per month.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways I think to be successful. Like I have my 8 year plan of what it looks like for a moment. Peter and I like toss around ideas of like buying into the businesses of people that we're coaching to help them, right? But the main goal, I think, it's a great talk about culture. That's one of the biggest takeaways I got when I was at Mike Boyle's. Dude, they are such a well-run gym. They probably had 2 or 3 talks about culture, and every single one of them was fucking phenomenal. But one of them was about career progressions, and I like what he had to say. It's like most people don't like to do one shit all day, so you can have a lot of miscellaneous things that are useful. The person that was speaking was talking about how he picked up social media. So he did 25 to 30 hours of coaching, and then he did social media for the rest of it. And that became part of his role. And he slowly built out a social media team that supported him. Right? It wasn't like he was going to go full-time social media, but that was an interest of his. So he slowly added another person onto the team that helped with social media. And they have a crazy flywheel with content, ads, and everything. Yes, this is, you're like, ads only for PTs. Like, no, literally any super successful business is running ads. Another one was someone really loved writing training programs. So 25 to 30 sessions per week. The rest of his time was spent building the training programs for all the different programs. Someone was super interested in an online fitness space. So they did 25 to 30 training sessions in the gym, and then they focused on building out their online training program. But I love this like thought of almost like having a side hustle within a business and supporting your team with that side hustle, right? They weren't expected to do all the social media themselves. They got it rolling, and then they hired another person to help out with the social media.
Yeah, I love that. How many people work at Mike Bowl?
Dude, it is
Over like 20 to 50.
Yeah, they are. I forgot how big their team is. All right, here we go. We got holy shit. Coaching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19 coaches. The front desk team, 2 front desk. Wow, super efficient. 1 physical therapist. They have like 5 partners, and then I think they do something about 20 something interns.
Damn. So yeah, like 20, anywhere from like 20 to 40, including the interns. And I think like when you get to that side, that number size, honestly, I think even beyond like 8 to 10, that's really where like culture is really key in terms of like, hey, making sure everyone's behavior really kind of revolves around a certain, level of standard. One of the things they talked about this weekend was like to have a successful like sales team, you need to have like a high connection rate and a high accountability rate. And what that kind of means is like high connection rate, meaning like, hey, from a rapport standpoint, do we have like things in common, right? Hey, do you guys both align on like your interests and hobbies, like running or CrossFit, whatever it is. And then high accountability rate is like, hey, like, are we actually holding them to a certain standard? Like, hey, do we actually do this? And he gives kind of different examples, like, sales teams where it's like, hey, you can have like really high rapport, but if like the rapport is high, but the accountability is low, the production is not going to be where you want it to be. But at the same time, if you don't have a connection rate and the manager's always just like, hey, did you get this done? Did you get this done? Did you get this done? Without building in any kind of like additional kind of like commonalities in, it becomes very hard to motivate the team. And he's like, when in all the different like sales teams that he's been a part of and he's managed to, and the ones that have been really successful, where just like things feel effortless, where like the whole team is cranking, production is going, the vibes are good. It's like those are the 2 things that are always there: high accountability rate. Everyone is always producing it, but at the same time, everyone's like having a good time while they are doing it because they like the people they are working with and the people that they are working for.
Yeah, the oh man, I go back because the main things I got from the weekend was the culture talks. Another one was just like you work on the culture every single fucking day. The culture is like a muscle that you have to train. And what you're mentioning about like standards and like how we get shit done, having fun, all those things, you have to constantly work at those things every single day. And they have phrases that they say about what their culture represents, the different values, and I was shocked at how intentional it was. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, we hired a bunch of good people and they built a culture. It's like, no, this is what we do here at MBSC. You have this, you got to come in with this kind of energy, this kind of attitude. These are actions that you can take to support the team. This is how you speak to other people. This is how you speak to your clients. This is how you. I was just like, holy crap, everything is laid out. It wasn't very ambiguous, and yeah, I'm just so freaking impressed by how everyone carried themselves. The team members, the kind of board of ownership, the interns itself were super respectful. Like everyone was just locked in. It felt like I was witnessing a sports team.
Yeah. I love that, and I think a lot of it just trickles up from the leadership team because at a certain point, it's like you can't have just one person try and influence everybody. It's like, hey, you need yourself, whatever, create the standards, and then from there you have like, hey, one or two maybe head coaches where they then continue to carry out the standards that you've set as the founder, and then all that trickles down into the interns. But yeah, when you create a very robust like culture like that, you can feel the difference just walking into a place, and I think that's awesome. But it's also like very hard to do well. And I think that's the
Dude,
hardest part is just like getting like trying to influence people to behave a certain way when they come from different backgrounds is hard. And right before this call, I was talking to Annie. Like one of the biggest things that people struggle with was people. When it comes to like building out sales teams, like at a certain point, you have the processes set up in place, you have the right scripts, but it's just all about how you find the right person to place in this role, and how do you get them to perform at the standard that you want them to perform. But yeah, if you can get that figured out, like business is a people game at the end of the day. It's like that's really where things really start to take off.
they control things like the fucking music. That's how intentional the culture is. Right? When they run adult classes, there's no curse words. When there's kids classes, there's no curse words. There's no like inappropriate things. And then when the teenagers and the pro athletes come in, they switch the music. They're so intentional about everything. And I think it's like when you create that environment, I always say now it's like I just want winners to be winners, right? That's all we're looking for. This
Yeah.
is not a place for you to really like shift your identity from a loser to a winner. It's like bringing on people that think highly of themselves, and we're setting a culture of winning. And I feel like when I was in an environment, I'm like, fuck me, I already feel like I'm a better leader leaving that weekend. Just witnessing like the standard that they've held, it makes me want to hold a higher standard for myself, right? Just being in that room.
I think bringing the right type of people in is a skill that you need to develop and learn as well too, and it only gets better with repetition. One of the things that the guys gave a talk about was like the percent of reps that they bring on that actually end up making it, that are like a good cultural fit and also have the right skills competencies to actually make it in their company. They say like out of all the reps they bring in, only 40% of them actually make it past week 5. And so they are actually cutting like way like more than 50% of the reps that they bring on. So a lot of times, and they have a very strict kind of like 5-step like hiring process to even make it into kind of like the initial like onboarding stage. But then once they do actually start, they give them it's like a very structured kind of like time frame. It's like, hey, by week 5, if you're not up to this, like you're not going to make it. And I think the one of the reasons why they say that is like, hey, in order to even make it in, you have to be the right culture fit. But then from there, the first 5 weeks, they have all the resources and support that they need in order to succeed. They just done it so many times now that like, hey, if by week 5 they're not there yet, from a skills and competency standpoint, they're not going to be able to make it. And when I heard that in terms of like the overall success rate of the reps that make it through, I'm like, holy shit, like it's not a high percentage as well as of people. But when you think about it, it's like the analogy he gave was like all the championship teams that are built all draft very very well, and so you have to be very intentional about who you bring on if you have a specific type of standard that you want to maintain, want to uphold in order to kind of get your team to perform at the level you want and be able to achieve whatever championship goal or revenue range for a business that you want to be able to do. when I heard that, I was like, damn, like it's tough, you know, like to like bring someone on and then fire them and stuff if they're not holding. It's like it's not easy. It's uncomfortable. It's like, but it's like it's what you have to do in order to be successful. And I'm sure, like, you know, over at Mike Ball, they probably just have like a specific process that's been dialed in over the last couple of years of like, hey, this is the specific type of intern that like is a culture fit. This is a specific type of coach that would do well in our environment, and these are the type of coaches that would not do well, you know. But like it just takes time to develop that, and you know, it's something that you have to fail at in order to get good at.
They have a flywheel of like talent coming in, right? Because they have the
Yeah,
internship and they've built a name and a brand for themselves where like people want to become a part of it. And there's like so many groups that don't care about those things. But we had someone on board, such a good dude. But I'm like, brother, you got to change your logo. I'm sorry. Like, and I don't say that often, but I'm like, this looks too much like a generic like logo. Like it
yeah,
needs the, you do something so quick. There's no excuse for those things anymore, right? It's like good branding is not hard to build.
yeah.
You can literally create illustrations with whatever vision. Like the bottleneck isn't how well you can do your Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. It's just how well can you prompt and what's your taste like. But they have that flywheel of interns that are constantly like looking for these positions and wanting to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think that is just a huge, huge part because eventually, like Peter said, it's a people's business. You're going to be looking like you're gonna need to attract the best talent, and the best talent only wants to work for the coolest brands. So you have to build a brand.
That, and then I'll leave you guys with this one last thing. One of my big takeaways: people want not only just the brand, but they want to work for people who they know care about them. And the one of the guys that gave a talk, he was sales manager for multiple different teams, and he said he's had reps that will basically follow him from team to team just because of the way he manages them and from the way that he cares about them. So he talks a lot about, like, you know, some of the little things that he'll do throughout the months, throughout the, you know, years, throughout even the weeks, that to basically kind of help you know, pick the reps up. Because a lot of times in sales, you're getting heard no a lot of times. It's like, how do you actually continue to motivate them to want to continue, you know, make one more dial, do, you know, go the extra mile. And so he'll literally just pull out a phone and just record a super quick, like 30-second like video, basically, hey, like, Andy, just wanted to let you know, hey, I've been thinking about you. Just want to let you know, like, hey, like, you're an awesome asset to the team. I've been noticing, you know, you've been working super hard lately, and I just want to say I'm so stoked that you're a part of the team. Keep crushing it, brother. And you just like little stuff like that, like you send that to them, and it goes such a long way. And then if they do something really well, he'll like, hey, go out to dinner with your wife, like send me the bill. But it's like all that stuff I'm not doing at all, and it's all stuff that I 100% know will play like a tremendous like impact in terms of like overall team morale. Really, just understanding, hey, like from the big man, like of the, like they care, and it feels good to be appreciated as part of a team that cares. You know.
Dude, I reading the one, there's like I read the book Unsold Mindset. We completely changed our evaluation to POC pitch, and everyone in our group has increased their conversions along with our team. We've doubled our conversions from meta ads after we made that switch up. Two, uh, I think this book is called like The Power of Mattering, and it talks about that specifically. There's certain janitors that stay at a job for a long period of time. When they interview them, like, hey, why do you stay? It's like, oh man, the boss actually came in super early one day and he was like, hey, thank you so much for doing the job that you do, because when you clean this space and make it so spotless, it makes everyone feel so welcome to come in here. And I felt like my job actually mattered.
Yep.
And I think that's what people want, right? People want to fucking matter. And you can't like self matter, right? Like you need someone else to kind of tell you that, like, hey, what you're contributing to our company is insanely valuable. And this is a crazy thing. When you pretend that you don't fucking need someone to be a part of your business, they end up feeling like a commodity. So they end up leaving. People want to actually know that they need you, right? So like that's one thing I've been super cognizant of. Like one of our PTs did something completely outside of his comfort zone. He recorded himself at home practicing the pitch because he wanted to get better, and we were listening to it together. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to rehearse all the different things that we've been talking about: the frequency, the volume, the tonality, all that stuff. And I
That's
texted
awesome.
him and I was like, dude, like that is so outside your comfort zone, and I'm so freaking proud of you, man. Like it is a joy to work with you, and like I'm so happy that you're part of the team. I can't fucking wait to keep growing with you and ripping with you. Like it's gonna be so fucking awesome. At the same time, I'm gonna buy him a watch as a gift, right? Like it's like
Oh shit! All
so like
right.
we're gonna do something on the side. Like every person on our team gets a birthday gift, and I listen to our team talk about shit all year long. And if they mention something, I'm like, oh, I'm putting that into my human being CRM. Right? We have like an SDR that we work with. I know. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we have a setter that we work with. Her son is her. I know her son's name, and I know her son likes fire trucks. So I'm gonna be sending her like a fire truck for her son. So it's like these little things. You don't think it's fucking important, but it'll change someone's life. And at the bare minimum, you feel good, and they know that someone cares about them.
Sheesh, dude. I feel like this episode we're just dropping gems after gems. Is
Yeah,
it
the
just
last.
me? Is it just me,
Uh,
or did you feel that too?
I feel that too. I like this one thing. Shout out to my boy Kevin Carr, man. People think that Mike Boyle is just about training, but they're so much bigger than that. They're great at what they do from a culture perspective, but man, they got some brilliant operators and businesses, like business like operators.
Mhm.
But Kevin was talking about like checklists, right? Like just having fucking checklists. And sometimes that, when you're struggling with an SOP, sometimes the SOP could just legitimately just be a fucking checklist. So they had like a programming checklist that they did where it's like, these are the things that you need to be able to check off, like as you're building out a program for someone or like a 4 week plan. And I just thought like that simple idea was so, so good because oftentimes we have a very ambiguous like company value, right? It's like, hey, I want you to be a bright light of energy, right? For people that come out and trade shit. But what does that even mean? Because if you lead that to interpretation, people are like, what do you mean? That's how I'm a bright light to people. You can
Yeah.
create a checklist underneath, right? If it's you and another physical therapist in a room, you have to ask the patient what their name is so that they feel welcomed. That's one checklist. So you can write like 10 actions below that your team can check off in order to demonstrate that quality that's very important for the facility. But I thought that process of just having a checklist, I was like, wow, it's so simple, but really, really effective because it gives people very actionable things to do.
Love it. I think one of the things too, it's like one of the guys said he's with his contacts, he basically will put little notes and almost like little checklists like that in their contacts card. So, like for example, like your SDR, right? Hey, like you have a coach, or she has a son who loves fire trucks. So every time he's on a call with her, it's like, hey, oh, how's your son doing? XYZ, right? How's Kevin doing? What's his like latest interest on fire trucks or something like that. But I think yeah, like little checklists or even just little notes and little reminders, like because nobody's perfect, dude. I think that's the whole point of having like systems, having certain reminders and checklists like that are go very very far.
Yeah. The basics still fucking win. When I presented,
Yeah.
um, Kevin gave me a book and he wrote a letter in there. And I was like, bro, like the highest level people still do the basics really fucking well. We hired a head of content and a head of content slash video editor. And someone on the team was like, how was all the interviews you did today? I'm like, oh, I feel really good about this one person. And I'm like, I think we're probably gonna go with him, but yo, I gotta run. So I leave right after the interview. I come back in and I was like, yo, that one person I just told you that I felt confident on, he just sent me an email. He said, thank you so much for taking your time. I really enjoyed our conversation about XYZ. And I'm like, so good. Kevin Carr gives me a book, writes a letter inside. He's like, bro, you're slowly becoming one of the best in the industry, not by what you know, but how you deliver the information. Your authenticity, your blah, blah, blah has really coming through. And I'm like, just so happy. Like, I'm just like, damn, these subtle things, man. Like, people don't write handwritten notes anymore. Every single person that does moment education, we write a handwritten note. We just had someone move into a new crib in GGC. We send him a box of steaks, right? Like just like these little things go such a long way. I was even trying to ask Emily, right, our salesperson, because
Yeah.
she's going to Austin. I'm like, if she's staying at a hotel, I want to send a bottle of champagne to the
Yep.
room or something, right? So it's like there are so many opportunities to show people that you matter. That they matter, and your goal is to do that more and more because that builds a culture of caring. And as you start to scale, you're going to have people that are doing that for others, right? It's not you, but like I fully expect every clinical director in the future to remember what the team wants and they become the people that buy gifts for the team, not me.
I think yeah, instead of the title being like CEO, it's like you gotta be like a CPO, Chief People Officer. Or chief officer people.
Yeah, Peter, my bad. I still haven't you sent you your gift. It's fucking.
Still waiting
Yo,
on it, bro.
Peter was like, "Yo, just bring it to Austin." I'm like, "Fuck,
Yeah,
man."
yeah.
I wrote a letter to Peter, and it's like it's probably the letter is gonna be so old because I wrote it in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, yeah. It's all good. I'll read it with the intention of, hey, like this is written in January.
Yo, Andy, don't worry, your trophy's still coming. Andy won.
Yeah,
Andy Noel won
it's
a
coming through,
poker.
Andy. Yeah, Andy's listening to this for sure.
Yeah, Andy's like, you fuckers. But guys, I think if the only thing I think we want you to get out of this is like you have to learn outside the industry at some point. But if you're like, hey, that's too much of a tall task right now, just go fucking learn from two dudes that are constantly doing that. Peter went to a sales conference. I'm going to a newsletter conference. We're going to be creating more and more trainings with everything that we're learning to make sure that the people in our group continue to win. And if you want to win, there's only one group that's doing it, and it's the group that is actually operating businesses while helping other people scale businesses. Peter, what do you think? How's that for a close? Anything you want to add?
Fire close. We always win, baby.
Let's go.
Let's
Oh,
go.
we got
Peace.
New York. We have New York coming up soon, but no announcements yet. Our group is growing, and I don't know if we can add any bonus slots. But
You want
GGC
in? Just join the group.
Yeah, GGC Live, New York City in August is about to be what's it about to be?
Movie.
Peace.